Franchising is the most misunderstood and most overlooked form of entrepreneurship. We're here to educate you and help you find the entrepreneur within. Franchising is not all about the French fries.
We find that individuals who are exploring business ownership tend to have a lot of misperceptions and misunderstandings about the franchise industry. So what we want to do is help prospective business owners make confident and educated decisions before moving forward or not moving forward with a business. Welcome to Unpredicted Entrepreneur.
Hello and welcome to episode 89 of Unpredicted Entrepreneur. I am Sara Wasco and I am joined by my colleague Roxanne Rapsky. We are with FranNet of Dallas-Fort Worth, and we created this podcast to bring you information about franchising and business ownership topics. Today, we are thrilled to welcome our guest, Kia Loomis. Kia and I worked together back in 2024 as she explored business ownership. Kia is the owner of Hallmark Home Care of Denton and Tarrant County. So welcome, Kia.
Thank you.
So happy to have you. We're excited to hear about your entrepreneurial journey. Mm-hmm. You and I met almost a year ago. Exactly. You had come to one of my seminars, and we always like to start with, your background and what prompted you to attend that franchising workshop. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to start seeking information about franchise ownership.
So I had been in the insurance industry for probably about 20 years, long time. And I was really, my husband and I were talking about, what do the next 20 years look like? Is that in corporate America? Do you like what you're doing? Things of that nature. And we really wanted some flexibility. We wanted some freedom. Our kids they'll be graduating in 2026. So we wanted to just make sure that we're spending enough time. So I was ready for a change. And probably about 6 months before working with you, I started going to SCORE of Fort Worth. So shout out to SCORE. And they gave a lot of information just on business ownership, funding, all of those things. And then franchising came up. And it was only the Lord that directed me to FranNet, because I'm a very skeptical person, very conservative person. And I was like, what is this? And I have to drive to Plano. And, it was the whole thing. But I said, let me go and see. And I was so happy I did. It was like, I think it was 2 hours. Is it 2 hours?
It was about 2 hours. We had a couple of other presenters.
Yes, but it was awesome. Your seminar talked about, full-time franchise, semi-franchise, funding. You had accountants there. Any question that I had about franchising was answered in that seminar. So it was definitely time well spent. And at the end of it, I think you and I met maybe 5 minutes. It wasn't long, very brief. I was like, all right, I don't know what I'm doing, but let me just get the information and go. And then I said, I went home. I talked to my husband, EJ, and I was like, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give her a call and see, what this is all about, and see where it takes us. And that's where our relationship began.
So, quick question. I think I remember when we were doing our prep call, you were so ready for a change. You had already quit your job, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you were full-time looking for what you were going to do next.
Full-time looking for what I was going to do next. And I think when I met with Sara, I was in the insurance industry, and when COVID happened, it was kind of weird.
Yeah, everything was weird.
Everything was weird. And then at that time, even though I didn't think that my company was going to do layoffs, they had a lot of layoffs going on in the insurance industry. And when people started getting back out there and needing protection, it was a lot. So it was, kind of that burnout, like, do I want to do this for another 10 or 15 years? And I was in leadership. So it was a lot. And I said, well, and I think I told Sara, there's always another paycheck. There's always another bonus. There's always another something. And we just had to really make the decision to, all right, you have to stop at some. If we're going to do it, you got to stop at some point. So that's what I did.
Wow.
I really admire you. That takes a lot of courage.
It does. Yeah.
And I know you got that one last bonus that you were expecting.
I did.
And then resigned. I have a client right now that I'm working with that's expecting a bonus in March. So she's kind of in the same situation.
Yeah.
So totally understand. So you decided, okay, I'm going for it. I'm ready to do something. The stars kind of align. Like you said, you found out about the workshop you attended. You got some information. We met in depth. You went through our process, filled out your profile. I asked all those questions.
Yes.
One, I've had clients say, this is long.
It is so long.
It is.
But it was worth it for sure. It's almost like doing a personality test where you are really trying to figure out what will work. And I think you said, because initially I thought I would have to do something in insurance. That's what I have a background in. And then you said something to the effect of like, your business may not be something that you've done before, And so I was like, all right, well, go big, go home. Let's just see what the tests, what the questions and assessments will kind of come with. So
That's a common thought, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of people think I'm in IT, so I should do something in IT or whatever their background is, but that's not the case. And that's why we ask all those questions, because everyone has transferable skill sets. It's a matter of figuring out what you're going to enjoy doing and what's going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And weren't you ready to do something different?
I was.
Yeah.
I was definitely ready to do something different. So I was like, all right, let's just see what it is. I didn't know if it was a pet business. I knew I didn't want to do food. So I did know
and
that.
your husband had run a food truck
before. So I knew I didn't want to do that because been there, done that. We looked at real estate because that was one of his passions as well. And even in that assessment, I think we both did assessments to find out like what both of us wanted. So it wasn't just a Kia thing. It was a family, what's the family thing going to be?
Well, I know he was very supportive and he was keeping his job, but wanted to help you on the back end however he could. So it's really helpful that both partners complete that profile, even if the other partner is not going to be involved in the business. I know EJ wanted to be. Sometimes they don't want to be, but it helps us evaluate if everybody's on the same page and viewing things the same way. Because if somebody answers a question as far as investment in one way, for example, and somebody else answers it in another way, we need to have a conversation about that and make sure that everybody's comfortable with the options. So after the profile and we sat down and met and just dug deeper and I presented you with some options. I know you didn't want brick and mortar, so we were looking at opportunities that you could work from home. You mentioned you were in leadership before. You had a lot of good marketing and transferable skills that would lend themselves to not needing brick and mortar.
Right.
Some people are not comfortable going out to market and create awareness for their business. So they need that brick and mortar. They need that building with a sign on it. But that was not the case for you. You wanted to be out in the community and looked at several brands and eventually chose Hallmark Home Care.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about Hallmark and what it is about this business that kind of led you there. And if we have listeners that might need your services, help us understand what you do.
Yeah. So Hallmark Home Care, what I found in the discovery process is it's a disruptor in the home care industry. So most people know about traditional home care companies. And then most people also know about families that want to do private duty care at home. So Hallmark basically bridges the gap between the two. We cut out the middleman. And so we actually recruit private duty caregivers for high acuity patients or their families or those that need care at home. And so what we're able to do is, since we cut out that middleman, we're able to save the family some money, pay the caregivers more money, because we don't have that overhead. So that brick and mortar that you're talking about, I don't have to pay for that. So those are cost savings, for our clients, and it gives a better living wage for the caregivers. But the other piece is that family, it's a direct hire assignment. So that family works directly for, the caregiver works directly for the family. So the family is in control over the schedule. They're in control of the plan of care. They're in control over who's actually in their home. So with a traditional company, typically you may see 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 caregivers in one home, whereas we can actually match you with a caregiver that works for you, and you have that one person there. And finally, we have that continuity of care. So we can work alongside of home health, hospice. If we primarily work with clients that have chronic illnesses, so if they need 24-hour care, if they need a live-in, Hallmark is one of the few companies that will actually where we can actually place a living caregiver, which is actually really, really affordable. If you are looking at, whether you want to go independent living or something like that. So that's what really attracted me to this particular model, is the low cost, and then just what the family was able to get from it and what the caregivers were able to get.
Wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a relationship too, because now that caregiver gets to really know and understand that family and that patient, and there's not just, like you were saying, it could be a revolving door of different caregivers. So trust is built. I think it's a completely different relationship when you do it that way.
It is. I have a client right now who came to us because their parent is in early signs of Alzheimer's, and they've had 4 caregivers in their home. And when I say 4, it's like 1 on Monday, 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Thursday, another one on Saturday, because they have these, they can only work a certain amount of hours. So if you have a caregiver that hits that, that's it. And that's usually what you would get with a traditional company. Love the traditional company. It's got a lot of friends there. But with Hallmark, I was able to get him one caregiver that we were placing in their home. And so now his family member can get to know the caregiver can get to know the family. And that will help with the Alzheimer's. It's not a revolving door of folks that are in that.
When they're already confused.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. So tell us, you obviously have clients and caregivers. Tell us how that process is going as far as client acquisition and what kind of support are you receiving from Hallmark as you're launching your business. You've been in business about 6 months now?
About 6 months now. So as far as support from Hallmark, it's been really great. I have a business coach that I meet with on a weekly basis. If not more, if I need it, they're there. We have everyone's cell phone numbers, so if I have a call, I can call our sales. So that part has really been great. And it's pretty extensive. Like once you finish the discovery process and you go in, we had like online training. We learned everything from recruiting to how to spot fraud, how to work with referral partners. So, just the role play. Just the level of training has really been great, and it's ongoing. And as far as the caregivers are concerned, I typically find our caregiver. Well, initially, we were finding caregivers through, like employment engines and things of that nature. But now it's gotten to a point where the caregivers that I place or that are on my registry, they have their friends who are also caregivers who are like, hey, can I join? So even that recruiting process has gotten a lot easier. And I know I'm getting a quality caregiver because the other caregiver has done some quality work as well.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
I
it's really
asked
good.
that question because a lot of people have anxiety or apprehension about the employee scenario with senior care and the turnover. We hear that a lot.
Yeah.
And so I really was curious how that was going for you and how you were finding your caregivers. And it sounds like if they're helping you with recruiting, that's a win-win.
Yeah. And another piece is that they're not employees of mine. So as a referral agency, they're employed by the client. So my job is mainly to matchmake them, almost like eHarmony. So I'm matchmaking them with the family, and then the family is in direct control. So we have a third party that handles like the taxes, the administrative pieces, all of those things.
Oh, nice.
So that's pretty good, but it leaves the family in control, and they can still call me, like if we have something, and I check in with my families and everything, but they are in control, not me. And that's another big piece that's different with the traditional home care is that sometimes the traditional home cares have stipulations. The caregiver can't do whatever it is at the home. But with our model, they can use the full extent of their expertise to care for that family. So that's really good.
So how are the families finding you? How do you get your clients?
Yeah, so families can find me anywhere in the community, honestly. No, but families can find me through some of my referral partners are like case managers, social workers, so rehab facilities where maybe the family member is going to be released and they need some additional help when they get home. Those that may have chronic illnesses where they need help. So I'm, networking with doctors and all of those folks that, if they have a patient that needs it, elder law attorneys, financial planners, so they can find me there. Also, clients can find me. I'll visit like some of the living facilities. So whether it's independent or assisted, because even in assisted living facilities, there are caregivers there, but it might be 10 patients to one caregiver at the facility. And so if that family wants that personalized care, give me a call. And wherever your senior wants to age in place, we can definitely help.
So you can actually place somebody with a family member that's in an assisted living facility. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
So these referral sources, you've been out in the community building these relationships. And it sounds like you've done an awesome job in 6 months.
Yeah. I'm trying.
So you just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And so one, kind of tidbit is that this business requires somebody out in the community. She always says kissing babies, shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah. Being the mayor. Yeah.
Being the mayor to build up that trust and people know you're there and how to reach you.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Senior centers. And like you said, it's a lot of relationship building that's one of the differences with corporate. When you're in corporate, everybody knows you. It's just that brick and mortar style. Everyone knows you already by the business. And this one, it's the opposite. They have to get to know me before they'll use Hallmark. So.
Well, I always say the importance of networking is that people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And if they don't know you, how do they get to those other two steps? So you have to be putting yourself out there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and be present, be visible. So be good memorable. For you. Memorable. Yeah, good for you. So tell us about any aha moments. I'm sure you've learned a lot over these last 6 months.
I have. So aha moments. Well, first, I would say my aha moment was just helping a client. So one of my very first clients, they wanted to take a vacation. And they had some very specifics that they wanted for their family member. And that's something that we can find as well. So they wanted some certifications. They, just wanted all this protection because they have been taking care of their family member for 3 or 4 years just on their own. Wow. Never took a vacation, anything. So, it was a short job for the caregiver. But Probably, and we were able to get them placed, get them taken care of. Everything was great. I checked on the family while my client was out of town, and they came back and they were like, Kia, you just don't even know that the break that I needed, because I have been every day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, like taking care of my family. And I didn't know what I didn't know until I was able to get a break. And now it's like, oh, wait, it was amazing. And so just that aha feeling of, okay, you are making a difference. They probably would not have been as comfortable with having 4 or 5 caregivers in the home during their time off. And they had that one person that they can talk to. So that was like that aha moment of, this is really going to be great.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know it must make you really feel wonderful to be able to provide this service, provide the care for the loved one, and then provide the peace of mind for the family.
Absolutely. It was great. Like once we get that caregiver placed and I'm able to let them know about the caregiver and just confirm everything, and I was like, just go on vacation. Don't worry. Don't call me. I'll call you if something happens, but just go on vacation and you'll be fine. And it was fine. They came back refreshed and now they're a repeat client, because now they're like, yeah, this helped me so much, because I think a lot of times, we grow accustomed to, I will take care of my family once something happens, that's how we grow up. But in today's time it's different. Like we work, even working from home, like you're still sometimes on the camera, you still have things to do for work. And so trying to take care of someone is hard. For a senior that has some type of disability, it can take an hour to give someone a shower, because it's not just the shower, but it's getting them to the shower, getting them in the shower, taking them out, getting them dressed. So it's not just, the 10 minutes that you might take. And I think a lot of families underestimate that much time and what care really is. And so it's kind of, so it's good to know that we're there where we can take care of some of those daily living pieces where you can still be family and you don't have to be caregiver and family, because that's not everybody's gift.
No,
at all.
It's not. Or skill set, especially if there's like Alzheimer's or, I learned so much going through that with my mom by watching the caregivers and how they interacted. And it's a lot.
It is a lot.
Well, and you can go back to being daughter and not being focused on being a caregiver.
Absolutely.
So it's such a blessing.
It is.
to the family. So thank you for sharing that. So if we have listeners today that are thinking about going into business, maybe like you haven't left their job yet, or maybe they have, maybe their job ended without their choice, but they're exploring options. What tip would you have for someone that's thinking about going into business for themselves?
So for me, I was very conservative, not really like I'm taking a bunch of risk. So my tip would be to get a consultant. That will be number one, because you really helped me. I had a totally different idea of what I should do. But you helped me see that there were other possibilities out there. And I, enjoyed the discovery task was daunting, but I enjoyed that part. And then also, I know y'all are not marriage counselors, but the amount of conversation that we had even before or after our calls, that really helped, because we were able to dig into different, avenues that I probably wouldn't have even thought about. So that would be my tip, especially if you're leaving corporate, because it's different. Like with corporate, your day is kind of planned for you. It's like, all right, this is what you have to do. You know how to do it and everything. And coming out of corporate, you really do have to be flexible. You really do have to change your mindset because your day is not going to be the same. You have to be okay with, hey, this might not be a good week, and bad weeks in corporate are different from bad weeks in entrepreneurship. So, just be flexible. Don't feel like it's the end of the world. That would be my tip. I keep God first because you need faith in this business to be, completely honest. Like you just got to have something else to when those times are not as you would think. And then it picks up. So
it's not perfect.
It's not perfect. No. Not perfect because you are building it from the ground up. Even if the franchise does have a name out there, you are building it from the ground up. So being flexible in that and knowing that you're building it. Even if you have a brick and mortar, you still gotta build it.
You do. Build it.
Yeah.
You don't just hang a sign and people just come. Yeah. You have to. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, if someone wanted to get a hold of you for your services, how would they reach you?
Couple of different ways. You can call. My phone number is 817-566-8773. You can catch me online as well at hallmarkhomecare.com/146. And on the website, you can, if you want to be a caregiver. So we take experienced caregivers. You have to have at least 2 years of experience, but there's a box to click caregiver. And then there's also a box for families if you're looking for care in your home. And then I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn under Hallmark Home Care, Denton and Tarrant. And that's how you reach me.
Well, that's a lot of good options.
It is a lot of good options. We all have so many different forms of communication.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend with us and share your journey. So
thank you.
We wish you continued success.
Thank you so absolutely. Much.
For those of you listening, thank you for tuning in. Please follow Sara and I on LinkedIn. We're very active there. I'm Roxanne Rapske, Rapske. Sara with no H, Waskow, Waskow. You can learn more about us on FranNet.com. And you can follow us on our YouTube channel at FranNet of Dallas, Fort Worth, and Oklahoma. And lastly, you can listen to Unpredicted Entrepreneur anywhere you like to stream your podcasts. So thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.